I'm a teacher at Los Angeles City College, where I teach English to students who not only come from different countries, cultures, backgrounds, but educational upbringings. And what I found is at the end of every semester, I have the most amazing stories. Los Angeles City College is extremely lucky to have a phenomenal theater department. And when I bring my students to the theater, they're drawn into the stories. They're suddenly able to follow the sequence, and they yearn to find out what those stories mean. It's as if the lesson that I brought in to teach them has turned into an excitement, it's turned into a passion, and it drives them onward. They not only try to strive to understand what those stories mean, but they decide at that moment they want more. They want to become regular theater goers. Isn't it amazing what the theater arts can do to transform the way that we learn, taking away our fears and putting in pleasure in its place? To me, that's what the theater does for my students. A few years back, I took my students to see 12 Angry Men. But before we got to the show, we watched a video in my class. Due to time, we couldn't see the end of it. I was startled. The next class, a number of my students had gone out to see the end. They wanted to see the climax of actually what happened. And when we went to see the theater performance, there was one student who wasn't simply satisfied with the regular performance. She wanted to go back to the original production. You see, learning has a certain benefit. It drives people to not only want to understand, but put the pieces together because of the drama that they see on the stage in front of them. One of my students, named Tatiana, couldn't attend, and so she did some extra credit. And what she did is she handed out Bibles with sack lunches to the homeless on Skid Row. She didn't come back frightened. She was excited. She was ecstatic. She said, I met 16 people from different nations all around the world. That's the most I've ever met. And I was simply blown away. She went on to work with a program that's called 826 Los Angeles, and they work with low-income kids, helping them on their writing skills. They used biographies, and they brought in a film producer to help them do the storyboards. She came back to my class so ecstatic, so passionate, not perfect, but she said, come on, guys, we got to go to the show. It's going to be so wonderful. And when she came to me several months later and she said, Professor Kahn, would you write a letter of recommendation so I can get a scholarship to help her follow through on her passion? I was honored. And it's amazing the doors that open because of theater arts. And so I take my students at the end of every semester and I give them a special, unique challenge. I give them a topic that they're unfamiliar with to turn that quest of knowledge into more. This past election season, my students chose voter fraud. Yes, they didn't understand English, and they wanted to understand what was happening in the world with voter fraud as it was unfolding in front of them. Teaching English can be challenging, but when you get to going ahead and talking about citing sources, you can literally pull your hair out from your head. The moment they got on that stage and I saw their deliveries, they had practiced, they had prepared, and they delivered in almost perfect English, but passionately, they became just like the actors they'd seen on the stage. As the semester passes, I go back to previous students and I ask them, what was the most important thing that helped you learn English? One student recently wrote me and said, I would tell everyone to take advantage of every opportunity there is just to learn English. And at the end of the semester, she pointed to one incident. She said, when I went to see that play, it helped me not only improve my words, but my vocabulary, my pronunciation, and my enunciation. And she said, without a doubt, seeing that play changed the way that she actually learned English. I was amazed. As I reflect on the stories that I've shared with you today, it seems as though theater transforms the way that students learn. They come to my class terrified of public speaking. They're fearful of learning English, but when you turn that passion on, they become driven to go ahead and yearn to understand what that play is about, to go ahead and say that information from the final presentation. They become fearless. They're unafraid, and they want to share those ideas. Isn't that what TEDx is all about? Sharing ideas passionately, not perfectly. Thank you.